Today we're exploring product photography 101 with a touch of vintage class and some tech giant. Here's how: play tape. Oh, love that sound. So let me walk you through my camera settings. I'm exposing for the background first and foremost, so I'm going to use the table lamp and the shutters to get an ambient light reading. So I've settled on f2.8, 30th of a second on the shutter, and ISO 160. I've gone for my 105 macro lens. These lenses have such shallow depth of field, even shooting at 5 feet away, so I can get some really nice separation between the camera and the surrounding objects. It's going to be buttery. Okie dokes, let's have a look at my lighting setup. This is my key light. It's a 200 watt flash unit. It's about the size of a speed light, but much more powerful. And that's shooting into a beauty dish with a grid on the front. And that's gonna channel the light and create some nice fall off of light. So this is my accent light, and it's gonna mimic the light coming from the table lamp in the background. It's got a strip box on the front with a grid, and shooting into the back is a normal speed light. And on the front of the speed light is a full cut CTO gel to match the color of the table lamp. And this is my, and this is my fill light. It's an LED light panel from Aperture, and you can change the color temperature from blues to yellows, which is what we're gonna go with. And this is just gonna add a touch of fill light to this side of the bag. Because I'm shooting on a slower shutter speed, I've set the camera to shoot on a 2-second timer to eliminate camera shake. I've focused manually on the center of the camera using live view, because using a macro lens, if you're off by just a few millimeters, you'll ruin the shot. Okay, I'm going to run you through my Lightroom process before moving on to the next setup. Some basic changes: reducing highlights, increasing shadows, texture down and clarity up, and then creating an S-curve on each of the RGB channels. Color sliders reduce the saturation of the greens and blues, increase the luminance on the warmer colors to bring out the bag. Being a vintage shot, let's add some grain. Next, with the radial tool, I'll do some localized exposure enhancements. Bring some clarity to the focus area and the bag buckle. And finally go for that faded look, bringing the black point up on the curve. In Photoshop, using another curves layer, I'll just carry on with some dodging and burning. And finally, color grade the image with a color balance adjustment layer. In the blacks, I'll add a touch of green and blue, and the white slider some yellows for that extra vintage style. From the raw file to an age-old classic image of a rangefinder camera. I'm using an old flat screen TV because it gives me a nice clean satin reflection. Using some garden wire to attach the camera to a boom arm above, I'll edit out the wire in post to create this floating illusion. This time I'm going for an overhead beauty dish with a speed light to keep the weight down. Again, I'm using a 200 watt kicker light here to illuminate the right side of the camera. I've also added an ND filter into the composition. I just felt the camera looked a bit sparse on its own and it adds some extra interest. I'm using the LED panel to illuminate the glass in the lens to add a catch light. Power output I've settled on 75% and a blue color at 9500 Kelvin. My lens of choice for this setup is a 14mm manual focus lens with aperture dialed in at f11 to keep everything in focus. I'll be shooting at 125th of a second and ISO 160. This will give me zero ambient light from the room, so the lights will be doing all of the work. Finally, I'm using an LED strip light to create some modern futuristic overhead lighting. You'll notice I'm taking the images with a Wi-Fi remote using the monitor to help me get straight lines. I'll take a series of shots and see which one looks best. I'm going to work with a couple of images from this shoot, this being the main image, and this shot for the overhead light because it's a bit neater and straight, and also this image of the reflections from the strip box. So let's head into Photoshop. I'll make a cutout of the light with the pen tool. Then copy and paste into the main image, and I'll just hide the layer for now. Then spot removal away the hands and light, and also tidy up the unwanted wires. Now we can reinsert the new light and tidy this up. Next up, I'll duplicate the light a couple of times and resize them to create this illusion of depth. Now I'll copy the reflection of the light and place that into the main image. A couple more tweaks on the overhead lights. Next, I'll content-aware remove the LED panel from the image. And also this strip box. I think I'll produce one more reflected light to act as a kind of separation for the reflection of the camera. I'll mask it out and paint back in the edge. Next up, I'll select the gridded strip box image and copy and paste that into the main image. Duplicate the layer and flip it for the other side. I'll just bring back some detail with a bit of dodging, and then tidy up the dust specks. One final touch, I'll add a spot-like smoke effect and change the blending option to screen. Then just mask out where we don't want the smoke. And there you have it. Futuristic sci-fi style product shoot using some compositing techniques. I've got a bunch more compositing videos on my channel, so be sure to check out the playlists. So 2 very different lighting setups with different lenses and different camera settings to create something from the past and from the future. But thanks for watching, team. Leave some comments below about which image you preferred and give us a thumbs up, that would really help the channel. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be seeing you.